Hey Shans, how does my hair look for the first day of school? Good!
Hi, my name is Jake Romero, and this is a presentation for Interpersonal Communications Class 2110-108. And the topic that I've chosen to do my presentation on today is that of lying and how it affects the interpersonal communications and relationships. I think that this is a topic that I've chosen to discuss because I think it's a very prevalent thing. No matter what you do, no matter how you try and get around it, you are constantly telling little lies, whether you should or shouldn't be. And it's something that affects everybody in one way or another. As demonstrated by the 9th commandment in Exodus 20, verse 16, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That shows that we've had this issue of lying around for a long time. That was back all the way in Moses' day. They were having to tell the people specifically not to lie. And it seems like no matter how good your intentions are, you really can't avoid lying. You may do it for reasons that are personal, selfish, non-selfish, trying to do better for your company, trying to do better for your school, trying to do better for your partner or relationship. It doesn't really matter. It comes down to you are telling lies. So there's a couple different reasons why we lie. Obviously it's not going to cover every reason, but some of the main focus points about why we lie, and I'd like to cover a few of those today. The first one is that people lie to save face. And obviously this is a very selfish, personal reason for lying. This is not going to affect anybody other than yourself. You can't justify that you're lying to help somebody else feel better about themselves. You can't justify that you're lying for a better cause. You can't. It's just 100% purely selfish. And this is really what it boils down to is something that we can do completely without. If we avoid lying to save face, there's really no downside to that. The next reason that people lie is to avoid tension or conflict. And this one's a little bit more difficult because if you are trying to avoid tension or in a conflict for yourself because you don't want to feel the discomfort and you don't want to be viewed as someone that is in your face and causing conflict, then that is once again a selfish reason. But if you're trying to avoid conflict and tension because you're trying to make a situation better, because you're trying to resolve something, or because you have a higher motive, then this may be a situation where lying is acceptable, and it's something that you actually need to be able to do. And you know, even if it's something as simple as trying to avoid or sparing someone's feelings. You know, if you are in a conflict, if you are in a difficult situation, and you're trying to help somebody feel like they are better than they are, or trying to help them gain more confidence or security in themselves, then this may be an acceptable reason for lying. The next reason that I would like to discuss as to why people lie in social situations is to guide social interaction. And this is going to be something that's typically not an outright, you know, somebody asks if this is the color blue and you say no, it's the color red type lie. This is going to be a subtle behavioral type lie where you are pretending that you enjoy somebody's company when you really don't, just to spare the feelings of the people that you're talking to and the people around you, because that would create an uncomfortable situation for everybody in the room. And this is something that, once again, it's kind of a gray area, because if you are doing it just to avoid looking like a bad person and looking like somebody that that other people don't like to be around, then it's a selfish reason. But if you are somebody that's doing it to spare somebody's feelings, if you're doing it to make a social interaction and a social situation better for everyone involved, then it is more of an acceptable reason to perform your little white lies. Another reason to lie is to expand or reduce a relationship. This is another one that can be viewed as kind of a gray area, because whenever you meet somebody, you are always trying to make yourself appear to be better or more than what you are. And you know, if you 100% come up to somebody and just, you don't know them, you've never met them before, and you say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so," and just unload all of your dirty little secrets on them and show them everything you've ever done wrong, and you don't play yourself up a little bit, then more than likely that person's going to run screaming and never want to have anything to do with you from that point on. So in order to gain relationships and in order to become somebody that someone else would like to be in a relationship with, you have to tell little fibs and make yourself appear to be a little bit better than you are. A quote that I like in regards to this subject is out of a book called The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. It says, "The best lies about me are the ones I told," meaning that you can pretty much make up whatever you want yourself to be. You can tell everybody that you are an astronaut and you're a millionaire or whatever you want to be. It's still a lie, but you can make up the image of yourself that you want to portray to someone else. It's an easy thing to fall into. It's very difficult to try and stay away from trying to make yourself appear more or better than what you are to people that you're trying to impress. There's also a couple of different expectations that have been placed on people in new relationships by society, by the social groups that they're in. They are expected to be a better catch. They're expected to push the limits of somebody that everybody wants to be with, and it's really difficult to fight those expectations and those social guidelines. Without making yourself seem more attractive, it would be very difficult to build a relationship or to get into new relationships. So that's lying to guide social interactions is something that it can be used, but once again, you're going to be better off just to be honest with who you are and what you are. So because later on in the relationship, you're going to discover that you're going to have to come clean anyway. You're going to have to discuss with that person, "Oh, I told you this about myself, but this is really the way I am, and basically I lied," and you're going to have to deal with that at some point anyway. I think a quote out of the textbook, Looking In, Looking Out, sums it up perfectly. If preserving a relationship is important, honesty, at least about important matters, really does appear to be the best policy. So if you would like to have a long-term relationship with anybody, whether it be friendship, romantic, employment, you should be honest from the front, or from the start, right up front. The last reason that I'd like to talk about for lying is to gain power. And this is 100% a purely selfish reason. There's really no way that you can construe that this is something that is for someone else, that it is something that you are trying to better anything or anybody else's life but yours. To gain power, or lying to gain power, is 100% all about you. And you may have some people that say, well, if you lie to gain power in a war situation, or a situation where you're fighting an enemy, that's kind of a different thing, and I think that falls into a different category because you're not technically in an interpersonal communication situation. That is not social, that's not cultural, that is war. And that, I believe, has a whole different set of rules that go along with it. Other than that, which, like I said, has a whole different set of rules, I believe that lying to gain power is never going to be okay. It's never going to be something that you can justify as alright. It will always damage relationships, it will always cause hurt feelings to everybody that you're dealing with, and it will always be an issue. There's an old Russian proverb that I came across while researching this that I think sums it up very well. It says, "With lies you may get ahead in the world, but you can never go back." Meaning basically, you may be able to lie your way into a better position, into a better status, but sooner or later it's going to come back to bite you in the butt, and you're never going to be able to go back to where you were before you told that lie, to push yourself forward and to gain yourself more power. To summarize, after studying the different parts and different types of lies that are told in interpersonal communication and relationships settings, and looking at the effects that it has on relationships. I believe that lies can be needed when you're trying to spare the feelings of others, when you're trying to improve the situation by helping to gain confidence and self-security for people that need it. It may be necessary to tell the little white lies and the little fibs that help push relationships forward. But for the most part, honesty really is the best policy. There's no way to get around it. Sir Walter Scott had the famous quote, excuse me, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive." And this very well illustrates what a difficult task it is to keep track of the lies we've told and to make them okay, and to make it okay for everybody involved. Because once you tell one lie, you have to continually add on to it. It grows and grows and grows until it's just this huge web that you can't keep track of. So once again, in general, I think we tend to lie in varying degrees, way more than we should. The varying statistics and research studies that have been done on lying and the effects of lying show that we, as a people in general, as humans, lie constantly. We lie all the time for one reason or another, whether we have to or not. And I think that if we were all able to just look at our lives and change the view that we have about lying and about the little white lies, we would have a much better place, much better environment for us to live in, and we would be able to provide an atmosphere that lies are not necessary. And one last little picture that I have here is just a picture of a kid standing in front of a chalkboard having written out, "I will always tell the truth." You know how they do in school when someone's done something wrong or told a lie. And the reason this is significant to me is it just tells, you know, the social pressures that are put on people to not lie. We're constantly, even from birth, told not to lie, not to do this. Always be honest, and regardless of that, we, as a culture, tend to lie way too much. And so we need to pay attention to what our teachers told us in second grade, that we should always tell the truth. Thank you very much.